So I'm 38 years old, which means I've been an adult for 20 years. And I hear a lot of people here in the dating and relationships commentary section of YouTube discussing how the dating market has changed so much in these last 15 years. And in today's video, I want to give you my perspective on the changes that I've seen take place and the impact that they've had and why dating is so difficult, just from my perspective. And I don't typically like to get into my past relationships or even my own experiences too much, because typically there's other people involved and I don't like to discuss them in my YouTube videos. But I will, for the sake of educational purposes, get into some things in this video. And we also may get into some bizarre and adult type topics. So if that's something you're interested in, then stay tuned. So anyways, like I said, I'm 38. That's 20 years that I've been an adult, dating or in relationships, and I've got to see the dating game from an adult perspective. But I'm going to start with 2007 because that was the last year that I was single all the way up until the age of 30. So in 2007, before I met my girlfriend that I would be with for 9 years, there was no iPhone, there was no social media. For the most part, there was no porn. The only porn that existed was the 18 and up room in Blockbuster. You could walk in there and you could rent the DVDs or the VHSs, or you could go to a gas station and buy a magazine that had porn in it. But if you were going to do that, you basically had to be the creepy guy that's walking into the adults only room and everybody just views you as like a weirdo. So most of us just avoided it. It was humiliating, it was weird. Most of us we avoided it. It was kind of shunned by the general public. Porn wasn't a thing, it wasn't a problem, it wasn't an issue. It existed, but it was just the weirdos and the creeps that were really taking part in it. There was no social media. And the big thing is there was no dating apps. So the dating market in that time period is something that I would consider to be a high trust dating market. So when you would exchange numbers with a woman and you would start talking, not texting, talking on the phone, having conversations, getting to know each other, learning about each other's parents, brothers and sisters, where they come from, what their life was like, building trust with people in a high trust dating market. And by the time the two of you got to where you were, sleeping with each other or whatever, living together or advancing your relationship in some type of way, you had developed, a level of trust, a bond, to where you knew you were a thing. You knew that you were boyfriend and girlfriend. You knew that you were well on your way to having a healthy relationship. And you just went with it. That's how simple things were back then. And that's exactly how I met my ex. We worked together. I thought she was cute, but I forget what happened. We ended up exchanging phone numbers, and one thing led to another, and we ended up living together and whatnot, and that's just kind of how it went. Anyways, fast forward to 2016 when we had split up and I was single for the first time. And you guys got to think, the changes that took place between 2007 and 2016 were absolutely, I can't put words on it. It's just mind-blowing. You would have never expected this to happen. So anyways, I'm single, living by myself in a city where I don't really know that many people, because I had moved during that relationship. We moved to Tulsa. And all of a sudden, we had porn and we had dating apps. Now, I know a lot of people will discuss porn and dating apps, and they'll, be like, they'll push this, moral high ground perspective of, stay away from porn, it's bad for you, and, it ruins your life, and blah, 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 and stop eating your meat. That's not where I'm trying to go with this video. And although they may have a point on some of that stuff, that's not where I'm trying to go. I'm just simply giving you the information, the nuts and bolts. You can do with it what you would like. But anyways, porn is 100% free, and we have dating apps. So I know there's a lot of people out there that they like to discuss male loneliness and male virginities and, males just, or female hypergamy, and so many males getting left out. A lot of you guys may disagree with this, but where I live, from my perspective and what I see, that's not the way it was in 2016. Everybody was hooking up. Everybody was having sex. And the reason why is because we had internet porn and we had dating apps. And I shit you not, I don't like getting personal like this, but for educational purposes, I will. I could get home from work, and, it was difficult to not have porn pop up on your computer screen. I mean, if you're a man, a single man with a high sex drive, porn is popping up on your screen. I don't care. You can lie to the rest of the world, but you can't lie to me. At least at one point in your life, it was popping up on your screen. It's free. It's there. You can't avoid it. And it's highly addictive. And for the most part, safe. So people are doing it. So anyways, I would check out some porn. And here's the thing. I know there's different types of men in this world. And I'll explain the type of man that I am. Some men like to sit back and be bystanders. They like to be the guy in the crowd watching the game, on the couch watching the game on TV, the guy watching porn and pleasuring himself. That's not me. I'm an action kind of guy. I need something more hardcore. So for example, I like to lift weights. I like bodybuilding. And if I turn on a video of bodybuilders working out, I don't just watch. No, I take a scoop of pre-workout and I get in the car and I go to the gym. It motivates me to go out there and get busy. And porn did the same exact thing to me. But here's the thing. Growing up, I typically messed with the same type of girl. Girls that looked like me, that acted like me, that were just like me. But porn gave me so much variety. Right? I would see black girls, I would see Asian girls, I would see Hispanic girls, white girls, whatever, Middle Eastern, you name it, they were all on there. And we also had dating apps. And I know a lot of people will tell you, again, this is something else maybe we'll disagree on, a lot of people will tell you there's no hooking up going on dating apps. I'm calling cap on that one. At least where I live. And I'm not trying to brag. It's not what I'm doing. If anything, this is more of like an Alcoholics Anonymous. Me sharing my addictions with you guys. I'm not trying, trust me, I'm not trying to brag. That's not what I'm doing here. But there was a lot of hooking up going on. And everybody I know was hooking up. Dudes that weren't so attractive, that were attractive, rich men, poor men, fat girls, skinny girls, whatever. People were hooking up. And when you combine the porn with the dating apps and people with my personality type, I'll give you an example. Maybe the porn that pops up on my screen is, like hot Asian girls or something like that, right? Well, I can go on the dating app and search for Asian girls. And in this time period, 2016 to about 2020, we still had this high trust dating market. It hadn't went full circle yet. So for the most part, the majority of women were still open to, you could just meet strangers on dating apps and they'd come over to your place. And this is really the first time in human history that this was happening. Sure, you could have one night stands 20 years ago. You could go to a swingers club, or you could take a girl home from a bar that was drunk or something, but that's different. Even in a setting like that, you still have to approach the woman, have a conversation. There's somewhat of a vetting process going on. You build a little trust for each other before you go home and do the thing, right? But now, for the first time ever, you could go on a dating app and order whatever type of person you wanted, like ordering a pizza. Women could do it, men could do it. If a girl wants a white guy, a black guy, or whatever, she can search that, find that, and hook up with that. We could do the same. So this is what the dating market, for the first time ever, had evolved into. A dating market where our sex drives are supercharged, at least for the men, and we're watching the porn. We want to get out there and smash as many women as possible. And then we go on the dating apps and we actually can. And again, I know a lot of people will say, well, I couldn't do it. And I think if you were around between like 2014 and 2020, you would know what it was like back then. So at least where I live, that's the way it was. Now, this was an unusual time period, I'll put it like that. And human beings, like myself, and women too, were having more sex than ever, with more people than ever, and having less babies than ever. Women are on birth control. I would say 90% of the time, if you were a dude hooking up in the 2010s, I would say 90% of the time you were putting a condom on. Unless it was a woman, unless you were in a high trust relationship, living together and all that, for the most part, pretty much all guys were wearing condoms. Everyone. And a lot of women were on birth control. So more sex being had with more partners than ever, and less babies being had, less morals, less values, less trust. So these modern inventions, these modern technologies had completely shifted the way human beings viewed dating and intersexual dynamics. And that's where hookup culture was born at. That's the birth of hookup culture. And say what you want to say about it. If you're a guy that is currently living the lifestyle of a sex addict, or that's what a pickup artist is. He's a sex addict, but he's not being fully honest with himself. He doesn't understand that he has a problem. So, he just calls himself a pickup artist, but that's what that is. Now, so basically, human beings kind of reached a state in human history where they no longer relate sex with reproduction. They no longer relate sex with relationships. They just view it as an activity, like a sport, an extracurricular. Instant pleasure, instant gratification with an instant disconnect afterwards. And that's just the way things are. That's what it's evolved into. It's interesting. Then we fast forward to an even bigger shift, and this one is for the worse. I mean, the other one you can argue was for the worse, depends on what you were trying to get out of it, but this one was definitely for the worse. And I'll just go ahead and say it. It was the invention of OnlyFans. combined with Cash App. So, now the women know that the men are watching porn and they're going on the dating apps and they just want to have one night stands and low trust relationships with instant disconnects. Women found a way to monetize it. They became the porn. So instead of watching the porn, switching to the dating apps and inviting them over to your place and having sex with them, now a large portion of them are meeting you on the dating apps, funneling you into their OnlyFans, and they'll do minor communications with you over there, but for the most part they're just taking your money. Now, I'm not saying there isn't still hooking up going on dating apps. There's still a little bit, but it's certainly changed. A lot of times you'll go on there and you'll think you're having a conversation with a nice young lady and she'll slap her Cash App onto the screen. If you're a guy like me, you'll probably just delete her. But based on the fact that so many women are doing this sort of thing, I'd imagine there's a lot of guys out there that actually send the donation. So here we are in 2024, extremely low trust society, low trust dating market, hypersexualized, birth control, instant disconnect after sex, less sex being had, hypergamy running wild, more male virgins than ever, more lonely men than ever. Now people just wonder, how do we get it back to the way it was? We opened up Pandora's box and we can't go back. And look, it's one thing if your experience is a little bit different than mine. I'm not going to tell you that your experience is invalid and my experience is somehow valid, but I will say that everything I've said in this video is 100% true. I've seen it happen right here in the front row, actually right here in the game, being a part of it, taking part of it, being a part of the action. And the changes that have took place between 2007 and now, I don't even know how to put it into words. It's sad to see where the world's gone. And I think, it's sort of come full circle. And we're back to a time period where, we got to remember what worked. Sure, everybody has social media. A lot of people are on dating apps. Everybody has internet porn on their computers. And it's hard to break free from it. But, if you can get yourself to go out there and be social, be normal, start conversations, build trust with people, stop worrying about all this game and seduction and, how to get laid, how to get in a girl's pants. Stop worrying about all that pre-selection. It all does exist. But it exists in a game that's corrupted, that's low trust, that bears no fruit. It's only valid in hookup culture. And, if you want out, you got to get out. And you got to start having real conversations, building real connections, dating, going to dinner, spending time, talking on the phone, getting to know people. And that's the only way out. Or you can stay single. Trust me, being single is very peaceful. I know. I definitely know that. But if you're somebody that, you're lonely and you want to break free from that lifestyle, build connections, build community, build friendships. And, I've never been the type of person to cold approach and spit game and try to seduce a woman. I've always just went out, been social, and one thing would just lead to another. And I think that's the best way to go about it, and just kind of let things happen in a smooth manner, let it happen naturally. But, to each their own. I'm not going to tell you what you should or should not do or what strategy you should take. But I do think that that's the answer. You know, getting out there, building friendships, being social, breaking out of the matrix. You know, break out of that. And when I say that, I'm not saying it the way, you know, that really popular social media influencer that was around in 2020 and 2021 used to say it. I'm using it from more of a perspective of saying that he's in the matrix. He is the matrix. I'm telling you to get out of it. But, you know, I guess that's just my experience and the best advice that I can give you in that particular situation that we've got ourselves in. Hope this video was somewhat informative, but that's about it for today, guys. Until next time, see ya.